Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting of the Town Council on April 28th, 2026. It's our regular Town Council meeting. I'd like to call it to order. And Patty, I'd like to ask you to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. All right. Let's begin with C, our regular public comments. And everyone has the opportunity to speak to the town. We're going to break it into two sections this evening. We're going to have public comment for anything except for sidewalks, because we will take care of the sidewalk public comment during the public comment section of the meeting. So if anyone would like to come up and speak on any subject in town, please come up, give us your name and your address. You have 5 minutes.
I wrote it down, so I won't need all 5 minutes. Jay Tulin, 39 Timberline Drive. I'm actually here to talk about something totally unrelated to sidewalks, and that's Jewish American Heritage Month, which is every May. Being that we're that close to May, I felt compelled to at least start to give some information about the significance of Jewish American Heritage Month at this meeting tonight. President George W. Bush, with the bipartisan partnership by former Senator Arlen Specter and current U.S. Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz, established Jewish American Heritage Month in 2006. The importance of it is in the opportunity to recognize the American Jewish experience in every community and the ability to educate communities about their Jewish heritage. We can and should honor contributions, promote cultural understanding, and preserve our Jewish heritage by acknowledging Jewish American Heritage Month every May in every community. I'm thankful to be partnering with the Farmington Historical Society, the Hartford Jewish Historical Society, and other organizations in plans that I've been working on since 2003 to hold a dedicated event at the new location at some time in the near future. In the meantime, I felt the need to point out that Jews everywhere celebrate our existence and heritage every day. It's critical that Farmington have an understanding of what this is all about and begin to gain appreciation, hopefully through some of these brief comments that I'm giving this evening. I would ask that, like many communities, and in particular on the federal level, since every president since 2006 has issued a proclamation recognizing Jewish American Heritage Month, I get how proclamations work from my time with the Human Relations Commission, but I'm still asking that the town strongly consider issuing a proclamation recognizing Jewish American Heritage Month. For the sake of time tonight, being that I'm talking about something that's not related to the purpose of this meeting tonight, I have gathered information about a gentleman named Abraham Greenberg, who was here in the 1880s, and it's a very interesting story, and I think probably at the next meeting I will be addressing you with the interesting story of Abraham Greenberg and how it's a great example of Farmington's Jewish heritage. That's it. Appreciate the time.
Look forward to that.
Thank you.
Jay. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment about something other than sidewalks?
My brother sent you all a
Sir,
letter.
would you mind
I'm sorry, 365 Meadow, Walk Row.
Okay, is this your brother's letter?
He wrote
Is this your brother's letter?
the town clerk and asked for it to be read out loud.
Would you mind saving it for the sidewalk discussion?
If I do that, then I can't speak about my position on it. My brother's on a 5-week vacation in Europe. You guys knew, and I was told that by my brother, that he was told that I'm going to be here and I can take care of it.
Well, I'll
And
tell
so
you,
since I only got my share,
well,
that's not going to
listen
work.
to
So
your comments first.
then you need to rule me out of order.
At the moment,
Yeah,
I'm
because otherwise I'm going to start reading.
asking if you would mind saving it for our next discussion.
I have other stuff I want to talk to you about.
If you're asking me to rule you out of order, only because I'm asking you to save
Fine.
it for the discussion
Okay.
later on.
And since I'm not on there, I can't challenge the chair. So anyway, so let's talk about something else. Now that I can't talk about my brothers, I do have something which is not specifically sidewalk related. I met with the town engineer a few weeks back, and he asked me a question. He said, "How are the peepers here?" Now, I tape recorded them sometime, and I said, "They sound like a freight train." Well, I went looking. I was driving by Patty Krell's my cousin. I was driving by the spring that she has down across from the school. Really loud. I went back to my pond, nothing. I did that several times. I'm concerned, and I've sent some letters, and I'm not complaining on how long it's taken, because it's not been that long. I've sent a letter asking for the type of chemicals that are used on the road for snow cleanup, so that when snow is pushed onto a bank, whatever, it dissolves. We have wetlands next to my property, next to what you own now, that feeds into my pond. I have an irrigation pond my dad built years ago, and it basically, when it rains in the spring, it fills my pond. My pond's probably 25 feet deep, I'm guessing. And it goes down to probably 10 feet in the wintertime, and when the spring rains come in, it just comes through. So I am concerned that maybe I don't have any more peepers. And I went back to look at the tape I had, because I do have a tape. It's 12 years old. And I was surprised it was that. I'm going through my other tapes to see if I tape my pond fairly frequently, more to see the level than anything else. And I walk in the woods and stuff. So I don't know what's going on. I've contacted UConn. They're going to check I'm going to bring them some sample, and they're going to check the solidity of the water. They can't do any more than that, but they're going to do that for me.
Okay.
So I'm interested in knowing what it is, Campbell's, you're using on the street, because the snow gets pushed up on the bank and feeds my pond, and what had all those peepers, which typically you would ask about peepers when you're looking to limit building. I know and that's fine, but I don't know where my peepers are gone. My cousin said, well, maybe they came to my place, and I said, I don't think so. But I'm concerned about the chemicals and what the impact potentially could be. Does that qualify?
I'm sure we can find out what chemicals are in there.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Is there anyone else in chambers who would like to share a thought or something that's on their mind? I don't see anyone else raising their hand. Kat, do we have anybody online who would like to share a thought?
I do not see any hands raised online.
All right, going 1, 2, 3.
Nothing.
All right, I'm going to close public comments. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts, everyone, and for keeping to the schedule for this evening. I truly appreciate it. Let's move on to D, our consideration of special topics. Mike, would you like to read what the post?
My apologies, I didn't know.
No worries.
Okay, thank you. Legal notice, Farmington, public hearing. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held Tuesday, April 28th, 2026 at 7:05 p.m. in the Town Hall Annex Chambers, 1 Monteith Drive, Farmington, Connecticut, 06032, on the proposed Meadow Road Sidewalk project. Interested parties are encouraged to participate in this hearing. A copy of the proposal can be found there's a link at small HTML bit, Meadow Road Sidewalk, or by calling the town manager's office at 860-675-2350, dated at Farmington, Connecticut, this third day, April 2026. Kathy A. Blonsky, town manager.
Kathy, would you like to give us a presentation on the sidewalks? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Blonsky, Town Manager, and I'm joined this evening by Russ Arnold, the Director of Public Works and Town Engineer. We are here to present the Meadow Road Sidewalk project and to provide an overview of the project, its objectives, and its anticipated impacts. This project involves the construction of a new sidewalk within the town's right-of-way along Meadow Road between New Britain Avenue and Wisteria Lane. In 2023, the town of Farmington applied for and was awarded a STEEP grant, which will fund approximately 50% of the total project cost. The remaining 50% is funded through the town's capital budget. This project aligns with the town's long-term planning documents. The Plan of Conservation and Development supports the continued expansion of a sidewalk network. Additionally, the town's strategic plan promotes the maintenance, improvement, and expansion of infrastructure and specifically identifies the Meadow Road Sidewalk Project. The Meadow Road Sidewalk Project is guided by the following objectives: enhance pedestrian access and safety, strengthen community connectivity, support the local economy, minimize impacts on residents, comply with the town's sidewalk ordinance, and comply with all other applicable town requirements. This project will provide a safe and accessible means of transportation and connect approximately 165 homes to a continuous sidewalk network along Meadow Road. These homes include the neighborhoods of Wisteria Lane, Portage Crossing, Wakefield Lane, Judson Lane, Summersby Way, Wyndham Lane, Carriage Drive, Rocky Ridge Lane, White Circle, and Trotter's Glen, which directly connect to the new sidewalk. This sidewalk will strengthen the connections between neighborhoods and key community assets, including Westwoods Upper Elementary School and the Farmington Canal Heritage Trail. This project will also enhance access to local businesses, connection between the new sidewalk and the Rails to Trails network, improve access to destinations such as Heinz Farm on the Meadow Road, and businesses in Unionville Center. The town has taken several steps to minimize impact on residents. From a location standpoint, the town owns a substantial amount of property along the south side of the road, which reduces the number of directly affected property owners. From the financial perspective, it is recommended that abutting property owners will not be assessed for the cost of the construction. However, consistent with the town ordinance, property owners will remain responsible for snow removal, ongoing maintenance, and associated liability related to the sidewalk. Additionally, the STEEP grant will cover 50% of the project cost, reducing the financial impact on taxpayers. The project follows the requirements outlined in Section 169-32 of the Farmington Town Code. Under this ordinance, the town manager determines the need for the sidewalk and whether it provides a substantial benefit to the town. This process includes preparing a map, notifying property owners by certified mail, holding a public hearing, and presenting the proposal to the town council for consideration. The project is also subject to review and approval by town boards and commissions. It has been presented to the Inland Wetlands Commission and the Town Plan and Zoning Commission, with approvals incorporated into the overall project. In summary, the project provides a direct and substantial benefit to the town by improving access to schools, trails, and local businesses. It is consistent with the town's long-term strategic goals and has been designed to minimize impact on residents. The total estimated project cost is $1,034,832. This includes $500,000 in STEEP grant funding and $534,832 from town capital funds. It is recommended that no property assessments be placed on the benefiting properties due to the overall public benefit of the project. The design of the project reflects a balance of several factors, including the overall project budget, the location of town-owned property, and existing topography. Additionally, the design decisions that were incorporated into this project include locating crosswalks based on the existing sidewalk connections, utilizing the town's right-of-way, ensuring that all elements meet or exceed ADA requirements. The town has evaluated the project in its entirety to balance competing priorities. The proposed sidewalk will be constructed on the south side of Meadow Road within the town's right-of-way. It will maintain 5 feet in width, exceeding ADA minimum requirements, and will include ADA-compliant ramps at crossings. The sidewalk will be constructed of concrete. The town will work with individual property owners to address site-specific conditions consistent with the approach used during the recent Main Street sidewalk replacement project. I will now turn the presentation over to Russ Arnold, Director of Public Works and Town Engineer, to share the overview of the project and associated project maps.
Excuse me. Did I do that?
No, you did.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Russ Arnold. I'm the Director of Public Works, Town Engineer for the Town of Farmington. What we have, what you see on the screen is, you'll see the schematic plans that we have that we drew up back when we put for the application. We're starting at Wisteria Lane. I talked with the DOT and
Could you speak a little closer to the mic, please?
is that better?
Excellent.
How's that? Same?
That's, yes.
Right there? I'm not going to sing any songs tonight. Just one bit of background. I spoke with the DOT. We originally thought about having a sidewalk go out to 177, but the DOT said that they would make us improve the full intersection, put a new traffic signal in, and at that point in time, we didn't have money budgeted for that work. So this is why we stopped at Wisteria Lane with a crosswalk there. And as Kathy mentioned, you'll see crosswalks through the plan where there are existing side roads that have sidewalks on them. Thank you. And here's a current picture of that intersection right now. And as you travel east along Meadow Road, the sidewalk still, it's shown in the right of way with another crosswalk at Porter's Crossing. There's a current picture of that. And we come up to Judson Lane. One thing that we're going to do is make an improvement within the town's drainage easement for an outlet. The current property owner on the north side of the road currently gets flooded out under heavy rain conditions. So we're going to increase the outlet size to allow all the water that currently gets to that system to pass through without flooding out that resident. Next slide, please. There's a picture of that intersection. And we're moving eastward at the Summersby for another crosswalk. And there's a picture of that intersection. And then we're moving down towards White Circle, heading to Trotters. Another picture. Intersection. Here we go, crossing at Trotters and Apple Tree Lane. And there's the trail connection to the trail connection for the sidewalk. And that is a picture of that intersection right there. And those are our plans. Okay.
Thank you, Russ.
The project timeline, if approved, the anticipated timeline is as follows. Final design in the summer of 2026, including meetings with the budding property owners, bidding in late summer to early fall 2026, construction beginning in the fall of 2026, with work resuming in the spring of 2027 as needed. In closing, the Meadow Road Sidewalk Project represents a thoughtful and strategic investment in the town's infrastructure, safety, and connectivity. We appreciate the public's time and input this evening and welcome any questions or comments as part of the hearing process. Thank you.
All right, everybody. At this point, I'd like to open it up for public comment, but because we have so many people here, we're going to do it a little differently. Let's begin by everybody having 3 minutes so that we can have everyone speak for 3 minutes. And if you feel you want to say more after everyone has had a chance to speak, please come up and continue with your additional 2 minutes. The other thing I would ask is if you hear a comment that is pretty much what you wanted to say, if you just want to say, I agree with that speaker, that would be great to move things along. Otherwise, I don't want to keep you here all night, but if you want to be here, so will we. So let's begin with 3 minutes. Does anyone want to come up and speak for 3 minutes about their position? Okay, come on up, my friend.
If you want to go
Ben Rodick, I'm,
Just a moment, Ben.
Can we put one of those mics work?
Do you want to go to the table? Is that easier?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the better way.
oh,
Here you go. Hold on a sec.
We got you, Ben.
thank you.
You just have to.
I don't agree with this.
You got to say your name and
Name and address.
Name and address for the rest, please.
My name is Ben Rodick, and I live at 75 Maple Avenue Extension, Maple Village. And I frequently go down Maple Road or Meadow Road. I see where this proposal will very much change the character and the entire vibe of the area. I don't agree with this at all. I see this as a a total waste of the town's money, which I think can be better spent in other areas. That's all I wish to say. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you for sharing, Ben. Appreciate it. Yeah, please come up to the microphone. Thank you. Name and address and your comments. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Katie Zadrozny. I'm a resident at 378 Meadow Road. I'd like to express my support for the installation of the sidewalk on our street. Many residents, including children, families, runners, dog walkers, and others, regularly walk along Meadow Road. Without a sidewalk, pedestrians are forced to walk along the side of the road, putting them dangerously close to moving traffic. With the increase in speeding cars we witness on a daily basis, a sidewalk would provide a much-needed safe space for our residents to walk, exercise, and commute to the Farmington Canal Trail. I feel this would improve overall safety and accessibility and strongly support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Who else would like to speak? Come on up, my friend. Thank you for being here.
I'm Owen.
Sorry, Owen?
Yeah, Owen. I live 29 Junior Road over near the Bristol border. I think this is really good because I play a sport over near like that area. I think that the sidewalks would really help like over there because I've seen like a lot of walkers like being on the sidewalk, and I think if I had like an easier way to like traverse around the town, it would be very helpful.
All right. Thank you, Owen. Appreciate your comments, and thank you for coming down. Would anyone else please? I do have a question for you. Are these your comments or your brother's comments? Because I would ask,
Doesn't
could I
matter.
hear? Yeah, I was going to ask, could I hear your comments first? And if we have time at the end, let's go with your brother's comments. Because
I think what I'm going to do is my sister-in-law's comments first. I'm not going to do my brother's at this point. If I have time to, I'm only going to have enough time to get through one of these, and then I'm going to have to. So that's the way it's going to be.
but you don't have any comments you want to make?
I do. Oh, I think I
Let's
got a
start
book
with your
of them.
comments because you're here.
I'll be doing in the second round. I want to complete what I promised to do for my brother and my sister-in-law.
You got 3 minutes. Go at it. Thanks for being here.
Iris Krell, property owner, 155 Judson Lane, with 200-plus feet of farmland, frontage on the south side of Meadow Road and 373 Meadow Road, and 150 feet of frontage on the south side of Meadow Road. Both properties totaling 350 feet of frontage on the south side of Meadow Road are affected by the proposed sidewalk. Unfortunately, my husband, Mark, and I will be unable to attend this meeting and need to ensure that our voices are heard. And sidewalk, I want this read at the meeting. There had been talk of putting in sidewalks on Meadow Road from Wisteria Road to New Britain Avenue. No information had originally been sent to property owners affected even though the town had already invested resources for the project. The work was that a grant was secured for the building of the sidewalk itself, and that it would probably run along the south side of Meadow Road. It all sounds great. Who would not want a sidewalk? However, the reality of burden to abutting property owners looks concerning. Current sidewalk regulations in Farmington state that the abutting property owner is responsible for the maintenance of the sidewalk that runs through their property. That includes repairs as well as snow and ice removal. The liability also goes to the property owner if an injury occurs. We do not want to lose everything we have because someone sues us when they get injured on the sidewalk. We do not want nor need. My husband and I are senior citizens and have lived in Farmington for the past 25 years. My husband's roots go back 100 years in this town. We are retired on fixed income. My husband is a disabled veteran, and snow removal is a big hurdle for us every winter. He cannot take on more snow removal tasks for a sidewalk that we did not request and have no use for. And hiring somebody costs a lot. Another option we would like to suggest is widening Meadow Road to add a small lane that could be used safely for pedestrians and bikes. That would extend the use to bikes and eliminate the property owner's responsibilities and liabilities of a sidewalk. We have finally received an official notice by certified mail, April 4, 2026, from the town manager, Kathleen Blonsky, informing us of the proposed sidewalk on Middle Road and a public hearing today. The new sidewalk is proposed to be built on the south side of Meadow Road, between Wistara and New Britain Avenue, with two proposed sidewalks at Wistara and Summersby. The sidewalk should be placed along the north side of Meadow Road, where it serves more residents. Therefore, it only needs one crosswalk at Judson, saving money. It is not fair to impose the burden of sidewalks on only 14 abutting property owners on the south side of the road, when 85% of the households benefiting would be accessing the sidewalk from the north side of Meadow Road. The proposed sidewalk serves 28.
All right, thank you, Paul. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
I guess.
Continue. All right, thank
I
you
mean,
very
you
much, Paul.
you got somebody that can put a proposal together. If I were debating, I'd at least get some more opportunity.
Please share your
By the way, when was
thoughts.
the last time that pipe flooded? 3 years ago was right here.
Hi, my name is Barbara Kasha. I'm at 335 Meadow Road. First of all, for the overall objectives, support the local economy, there isn't that much economy on our area. There's Hind Farm, which I walk to. My husband has been walking those streets just about every single day since we moved in 1980. We walk back and forth. I walk to Judson Lane. I walk to Hind Farm. I walk through the flats just to walk. As far as minimizing impacts on residents, I will say ditto to what was just read. We are also senior citizens, and the idea of having to increase we're not going to go out there and shovel those sidewalks ourselves. It's just not going to happen at this stage of our lives. And it will impact financially, the liability, as was just said. I love the idea of being in a residential area where there are sidewalks, but not these. It just does not make sense. I mean, like I said, we've been living there for over 40 years, and we've done great. The only thing that really is to walk to are the schools, is the school. And our kids went through Farmington schools. Our daughter, Alana, was the first fifth grade at Westwoods, and we did great. So I really am questioning this decision. I love the suggestion that was made previously about perhaps doing it on the other side. I never thought of that. It would have more impact for more families where they wouldn't have to cross over. So thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Appreciate your comments. Now, there was a comment in the back. Yeah, please come up.
Hi, Denise Lafreniere, 382 Meadow Road, and I just want to reiterate that the safety aspect of it. I like to walk just about every day, and walking on that part of Meadow Road, in particular in the wintertime, is very dangerous. There's no place to walk, to get off the road when there's cars coming, and they do come very quickly. I used to walk my dog, and I stopped even taking the dog because it's a little bit too dangerous to get from my house to, an area where there's any sidewalks. So that's it. I love the idea, and I really hope it goes forward.
Thank you for your comments, Denise. Please come up. Give us your name and address, and you've got 3 minutes.
When I get there.
I know.
Damn, can't use fast anymore.
Figured we'd
Richard
chat on the way
Kazika,
up.
11 Coppermine Road.
I'm sorry, the first name?
Richard.
Richard, thank you.
9 years ago, I wrote a letter to Mike D'Amico. He used to be one of the council members here. My concern is with any residents having anything to do with snow removal on town property. You're not insured for it. You're not under any kind of legal reasoning for being here other than the town council's, what do they call it? It's not a law. It's, what is it?
Ordinance?
Ordinance. I have a problem with objective number 4 where they say other liabilities. What are the other liabilities other than you're supposed to clean the snow, and what's the other liability? And don't take this off my time. What is the other
We're
liability?
here to listen right
Who
now.
who
Not
insures
engage. I'm sorry.
who insures this sidewalk? Does anybody know? Because homeowners insurance does not cover public or state sidewalks. So that's a liability. The word liability bothers me. I spent 41 years in public safety. Liability is not a good word. Do you really expect some of the people that live on Meadow Road to clear 5 feet on the downward side of the road where most of the snow is going to go? It's a town road. It belongs to the town. Let the town take care of it. The sidewalks. That's something I've been after for 9 years now and have gotten nowhere. You people will be the ones clearing that sidewalk, not me. But that's all I have to say. Let's see if we can do something for the people of the town. Take this burden off their back. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate your comments. Is there anyone else who would like to come up and speak and share your thoughts?
My name's Allison Krell, and my family has farmland on Meadow Road for generations. Tonight, that our land is the subject of the hearing. My family doesn't oppose sidewalks. We're not against pedestrian infrastructure at all. What we oppose is the project as proposed, the timeline, and the process. Our biggest issue is that several of the members of this council has already made their positions clear through votes, committee roles, and public statements that have been made before tonight's hearing. On January 30th, Councilman Vibert said that the council must be prepared to tell residents that the project will proceed. And the town manager, 5 weeks before tonight, said, "I'm recommending we install the sidewalk." Yet her letter to me defending the lack of a survey says abutting owners are firmly heard at the public hearing, but as we know, we have 3 minutes. And a big issue is how we found out about the project. We didn't find out through the town, we found out through a family friend. When we asked why the town, why we weren't notified, we were told that the town had no obligation to notify us, so it didn't. And while the town could not find time to notify the families whose land this project crosses, it did find the time to identify one homeowner's flooding problem by address in official minutes and a whole engineer solution for it. Our first issue was access. Our farmland along Meadow Road has no driveways. We access the fields from the road and a concrete sidewalk built along the frontage without curb cuts. I'll finish the rest in my last 5 minutes. Oh, I heard the beep. Okay. Our farmland along Meadow Road has no driveways. We access the fields from the road, and a concrete sidewalk built along the frontage without curb cuts for equipment blocks us out. We raised this directly, and we were given verbal assurances curb cuts would be provided, but the current plans don't show any. So the verbal promises and the engineering plans are two different things that we're experiencing. Second is maintenance and liability. Under Farmington's ordinance, abutting property owners must clear snow and treat ice on sidewalk. If they don't, they could be fined, and the town can remove the snow or ice and place the cost as a lien. That's not a small burden. We asked the town about this. We were told the sidewalk will be placed on the south side, the farm side, in part because the town owns property there, and because that alignment, in the town manager's words, would, quote, lessen the impact on residents of the street. That answer tells you exactly what happens. There are significantly more residential homeowners on the north side of Meadow Road. By choosing the south side, the town protected the larger group from the maintenance burden, the snow removal obligation, and the legal risk, and placed those burdens on a small number of south side abutters, active farms, and a handful of private property owners, many of whom are senior citizens. To lessen the impact on residents, the town is placing a concrete sidewalk on other people's frontage and then handing them the shovel. The town manager described this.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
But if you want, 2 minutes later on, so you can absolutely continue.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Allison. Is there anyone else who would like to please come up, your name and your address, and we're chatting as you come up, so.
Hi, I'm Jen Woods. I own Hine Farm at 303 Meadow Road. I'm overall in favor of the sidewalks. I'm anything for, connecting the community. Meadow Road is certainly a very busy road and it's very dangerous. People do walk to the farm, bike to the farm. My kids go to the bike path and it is a dangerous road. Cars go very fast. My concerns are over the side it's on and the maintenance. I'm not an engineer, but I'm not entirely convinced that it makes sense on the south side, especially if the long-term goal is to connect it to Unionville. I think at, the 177 intersection, you wouldn't want to be crossing that in long-term. I realize it's stopping at Wisteria now, but if we're talking about long-term, it really doesn't make sense. But mostly my concern is over the winter maintenance of it. It's quite a big stretch in front of my property. The town owns 22 acres behind me. I only own 1.5 acres. Happens to be a lot of frontage there. The town owns property before mine and after mine, and I was told that that will be maintained by them, but my stretch, would not be currently maintained by the town. The installation of the sidewalk will cause significantly a lot of work for me. There are a lot of perennial plants, bulbs, established trees that I use for in agriculture. It's flower farming. I do cuttings. And this isn't like planting a tomato every year. These are crops that are perennial crops that come back. I realize the sidewalk is in the town right of way, which is only 6 to 10 feet. But the installation of that is going to require going beyond that with grading and machinery and concrete and all that. So there will be a significant, and we're talking hundreds of plants that will have to be transplanted for the installation of this. And, I can work with that. There was a question in the grant application that said, will the project require conversion of lands currently in agricultural use to non-agricultural use? The answer was no there. It is not a significant amount of land compared to what I rent and grow on, but I will have to convert land that is currently in agricultural use to non-agricultural with the installation of the sidewalk. I really hope that you'll consider that the town maintains the stretch in front of the farm and helps, they already have to do before and after. And I've also heard, I don't know how much is to this, but they also maintain a stretch on Judson Lane. So I'm not great at asking for help, but I really need help maintaining this in the winter. I'm not always there in the winter. I would have to hire somebody. It's a significant burden. That's it.
All right. Jen, thank you for your comments. We appreciate them. Is there anyone else in chambers who would like to come up and speak?
My name is Albert Petrauskas. My wife Jane owns 355 Meadow Road. And I'm not opposed to the sidewalk, but I am opposed to some of the details. I liked Richard's statement about the maintenance and the changing of the area. I really believe that it's a country road. It has a farm atmosphere. You're turning it into more of a municipal situation. And I question that the south side of the road, that seems to me to be a big mistake. Or why would you put it where there's no population? I mean, everybody now is on the north side. Now they're going to have to come across the crosswalk. So you're going to stop all the traffic so they can come across? I mean, that sounds really silly to me. Why would you do that? Another point, environment. Have you really gotten into the environment? Now, we're 355 Meadow Road, and he was speaking about the fact that he was going to change the drainage. Now, what I'm learning is they're going to increase the culvert that's there. Now, increase the culvert because of flooding on the other side. Okay, well, I talked to the resident that said it was flooding, and he said it only happened once, and it was a little bit in his garage. Now, I don't know where you're getting the fact that there's huge flooding. Can you tell me where you got that? Okay, I don't think you can. Now, also the situation is now you're gonna open that culvert up, you're gonna grade it so all the water goes down, all the salt water. Now, I have some wetlands there, and they're very, very stressed. Now, you're gonna fill it with water, your salt water? Are you gonna do that? What, have you looked into that? Have you talked to the DEP? Now, what's the situation with that? You're screwing up my wetlands. Now, I was trying to make a couple of lots. Okay, you tell me, oh no, you can't go near those wetlands. No. 150 feet, gotta stay away. Now, all of a sudden, you're going in there and doing this? I don't think that's right. Okay, we're getting into the next step, snow removal. I agree with Richard. Why would you make us, now you're gonna cause us to have all the liability? Why don't you take the liability? You're the ones that want it. Okay, have you really found out what the people want? I know a few people want it.
I'm afraid we're at our 3 minutes, but you're more than welcome to come back and finish up with another 2 minutes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate the help.
Good evening.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kyle Haythorne. I'm a resident at 282 Meadow Road. My family and I have been there for about 5 years. We have 2 young children. One is 1 and the other is 5. We expect Farmington to be our home for the next 20 years on this road. So we were excited to hear. It's one thing when we moved in, it's not some of the residential areas with the cul-de-sacs and everything, but we were happy with the road kind of pushing it, more of it being that kind of farm country area, and we really enjoy that. But there is the safety of our children that's at concern. My wife walks that road with our dog regularly. We go over to Hine Farm for all the events you guys host there. We really enjoy those. We see a lot of people walking and running on this road on a daily basis. As well as my kids, especially as they get older, we go to the bike path. We use it regularly to connect over to neighborhoods down on the other side, to visit other friends and family that are in the area. So we're definitely in full support of it. I think, too, with the increased building going on in Farmington, I'm concerned about even more increased traffic on the road. I did reach out to the town about a year ago with concerns about the speed of people coming down this road. I think that's a concern we can all agree with. So it's very concerning having my young children on that road and my wife walking on that road and myself walking and running on that road. So I'm in full support of the project. I do appreciate and understand the concerns that some of the residents are bringing up, especially around liability and snow removal. I am concerned about even the crossings themselves and would want to know a little bit more about, are we doing raised crossings? Is it, because some of those turns are fairly tight going to those roads. So while the crossings are there, having seen how people treat crosswalks elsewhere in Farmington, definitely there's some concern there around the implementation. I don't want that to delay the project. I am very much in full support of it, but those are some concerns I have, and I appreciate the other concerns from residents along those lines, but I do want to provide my full support for this project. Thank you.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much for your comments. Is there anyone else in chambers who would like to come up and speak?
Hey there, Fred Tampassis, 36 Carriage Drive.
So did you say Fred?
Yep, Fred.
Okay, just checking.
Yep, thanks. So yeah, good evening and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I live in a neighborhood that's directly connected to the area under consideration. I'm here to express my strong support for the proposed sidewalk project. At its core, this is about the public good. Sidewalks are a basic infrastructure that make a community more accessible, more connected, and more livable for everyone, families, seniors, and children alike. This project would create a safe and continuous link between multiple residential neighborhoods, the town trail system to the east, and the upper elementary school to the west. That kind of connectivity is not just convenient, it's essential. Safety is a particularly important concern along this stretch of road. It is already busy, and without proper pedestrian infrastructure, residents are left to walk or bike in conditions that are less safe than they should be. A sidewalk provides a clear, protected space for non-drivers and reduces the risk of accidents for everyone using the road. From a fiscal standpoint, this is also a smart investment. The town has already secured LoCIP funding that will cover approximately half the project cost. Taking advantage of state funding allows us to significantly improve local infrastructure at a reduced burden to taxpayers. I also want to highlight the importance of timing. I'm not originally from Farmington, but I've heard about the long-anticipated Third Bridge project, and that would be expected to increase traffic volumes along this corridor in particular as a crossing route. It's reasonable to expect that pedestrian infrastructure will become even more necessary in the future should that occur, but even if it doesn't, as already mentioned earlier, Winter Creek on Maria, Trailside on New Britain Ave, we're continuing to build and add units to this corridor. There's going to be even more traffic heading back and forth between West Woods, Tungus Mead Fields. I just kind of see this as a perfect opportunity and perfect timing for this project. I understand that there are concerns about sidewalk maintenance and requirements. Those concerns are valid and worth discussing. I hope that they are weighed against the broader and long-term benefits to public safety, accessibility, and community and connectivity. In closing, this project represents a thoughtful, forward-looking investment to our town's infrastructure and quality of life. I respectfully urge the council to support moving it forward. Thank you for your time and consideration. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your comments, Fred. Appreciate it. Is there anyone else in chambers who would like to be heard and make a comment?
Thank you.
Sure. Name and address?
Name is Ken Kasha. We're at 335 Meadow Road. I want to say I think the safety of our children is so important. Even though we've raised 3 children, we've had half a dozen dogs. We walk the road all the time, and we may do. The thing that's gnawing at me, though, is the disproportionate burden placed on those of us living on the south side for maintenance. Farmington does a great job in plowing. It was fantastic. You guys really take good care of us. However, every time the plow goes by, more snow is put on our driveway. And you can't call your plow guy to come for a 5-minute job for them. So that means it has to be plowed. And now we have a huge 75-foot sprawl. And then on top of that, I'm thinking long term, I was born and raised in cities. Sidewalks don't last forever. And there'll be damage, and they need to be repaired. And if I'm hearing correctly, we would be responsible for the repairs of the sidewalk. That seems very, very disproportionate when there's very few families on the south side and so many more in the new developments of Summersby, Portage, etc. So I think a good measure, if it's possible, let the town take care of that. Let the town, maintain it, and our town does a great job maintenance. So I like the idea. It would be safer. I just don't like the idea of the disproportionate liability and expense to those few of us on the south side. And especially the farmers with the farms, which are great here. If I'm understanding correctly, it would really pose serious challenges for them to do their work without damaging the sidewalk, with getting their tractors up, etc. That's my words. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate your comments. Is there anyone else in chambers who would like to make a comment? Hi. Name and address?
Nicole Jesedowicz, 386 Meadow Road. Just would like to state my support for the project. I drive at Meadow every day, live on Meadow, and constantly see people walking, biking, and cars getting very close to them. It's not safe. Despite I understand the stress on some homeowners, but safety is important. Thank you.
All All right, thank you, Nicole. Appreciate your comments. Is there anyone else in chambers? Before we go to our second round, I would like to see if there's anyone online who would like to make a comment. Kat, do we have anyone online who wants to make a comment?
Yes, we do have a hand raised online, a couple hands. So I'll start with Catherine.
Catherine?
You'll just need to unmute.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Catherine. Your
Okay.
address, please, Catherine.
I'm Catherine Zelko, 19 Lantern Court. I live in a neighborhood off of Judson Lane. I'm here to express my support for a sidewalk along Meadow Road as a resident of the area. This is an important and necessary step to improve safety for everyone who lives in this area. Right now, pedestrians, including children, walking to school, families, teenagers going to the bike path or Tungus Mead Park, or even to Unionville via the bike path, are forced to share a curvy, narrow roadway with traffic, often traveling at high speeds. It creates an unsafe situation, especially during busy times or in bad weather. A dedicated sidewalk would provide a safe space for pedestrians. Many times when my children have biked or walked on Meadow Road, which they've done often, the cars come so close my kids have had to quickly move or jump off into the bushes to avoid them. And with distracted driving, many parents don't even let their children walk or bike on Meadow as it is. We have no other route in this area to get to other areas of town because Route 6 is the only alternative, and it doesn't have sidewalks and is far too dangerous. This project is especially valuable because it would create a connected route to the rest of Farmington. Installing the sidewalk along Meadow would link directly to the existing sidewalk on Judson, providing access to Westwoods. It would also connect to the bike path on New Britain Ave, encouraging more walking and biking, and also links to Tungus Mead Park and the sidewalk to Main Street and to Unionville via the bike path. In addition to safety, this improvement encourages outdoor activity and makes our town more accessible for residents of all ages and abilities. I urge the council to prioritize this project and move it forward. It's a practical investment and it will have a meaningful impact on public safety and quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. We appreciate your comments. You said we had someone else online who wanted to speak?
Hold on once. Okay, so we have somebody that is showing as iPad. We will just need you to give your name and address.
Sure. Hi, this is Andres Scotti. I am at 94 Knollwood Road, behind the high school. I'm the father of a 10-year-old at currently in Union School, and we are in favor of the sidewalk on Meadow Road. Westwoods has about 675 kids. That is the prime biking age, and currently most kids can't get to Westwoods at all. They would have to go down Meadow Road, and most parents in town would not be comfortable letting their kids ride down Meadow Road without a sidewalk. This would help the kids learn independence, get them outside, and just foster the love of outside and biking and walking. It also helps with our connectivity. It's about 2 miles to Tungus Mead. Right now our son, we live in the Highlands, and he can just hop on the bike path and he bikes to Tungus Mead for soccer games and practice. It's 3 miles to Unionville, and so biking to Unionville, it's a 15-minute bike ride. So kids can bike there, they can get to mini golf, Riverside, and they could also get down Judson to Golden Mango. And so, that would also help local businesses both in Unionville, down in Spring Lane, as well as connect into Farmington Center via Meadow Road, and then the sidewalks on Garden Street. So that would also help connectivity. We don't have very good connectivity going east and west. North and south is fantastic with the bike path, but we need to help connectivity going east and west. And I think this would help many citizens in Farmington. I'm in favor of it, and I hope that we can help make it happen.
All right. Thank you for your comments. We appreciate them. Do we have anyone else online who would like to speak?
I do not see any other hands.
All right. So thank you for online comments. I know that there are a couple of people in chambers who wanted to access their additional 2 minutes, so this is the time that we can start going there if you like. So if anyone would like to come up and continue their 2 minutes, that would be awesome. Thanks, Allison.
Just regarding the ordinance and the maintenance review with the sidewalk committee, there were a couple quotes on there that I feel like I'm experiencing now. Councilman Vivert said, "I can't imagine a world in which we wouldn't want the survey." He added, "The one charge that I think hurts you is when you're sitting at the dais as town council is when somebody comes in for public comment and they say, we had no idea, or we were never informed, we weren't giving a chance." He was describing tonight. The survey is now scheduled after the vote, so it cannot matter to the people most directly affected. Councilman Vibert predicted this exact moment. He said it would hurt, and he was right. So I ask, why is this vote happening tonight? Is there a grant deadline? If so, say so clearly. If there's not, why does the vote come before the survey, before the ordinance review, and before the remaining environmental and engineering questions are answered? The stretch of the sidewalk, more than half of the length is through conserved land. There's 3 wetland areas, a culvert enlargement, and 3 wetland review areas. And it doesn't feel like the real reviews have been done. There's been no wetland delineation tests. Everything was done by the GIS. There's no impact analysis of what's going to happen to the land, and we're all just kind of expected to deal with it. And then they're increasing a culvert side to address one person's flooding, and they're shifting it to the other side, which is going to hit the Wodarski's land. And there's no analysis done of where the water goes once we push it more over there. There's nothing. And I think that there needs to be more review done so that we know the impacts to our properties, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Allison. We appreciate it. Is there, Paul?
My daughter put in many hours and had a lot to say. So have I. This is just not fair. All right, here's the bottom line. The people that are here that are on my side where the sidewalk is, how many want it? You're on, okay. The ones that are on the other side, would you like it on your side? Anybody from the other side? You'd be willing to take care of it on the other side? Cool. We'll give it to you. These guys know this because I've raised this before. There are a pair of areas that they're not supposed to. There are easements on it from the DEP. And there's a part right in front of Jennifer's Ponds and one down my end. And actually, right, that little Swoosley that I was talking about before with the frogs, that whole section, they're not supposed to build on it. How do I know? I've told this to these people because I went to the DEP and I asked them and they said, no. Now, I said, but they said, we own 15 feet. That was, by the way, why they would never tell me what was going on. And when I walked in the office the first time, when I heard a rumor last May, oh, we own 15 feet. We don't have to say anything. Well, the reality of the situation, she said, no, that's not true. You still can't put cement there. You can't put a hardtop there. That type of land. Now, there's a disagreement on that topic with the engineer and me. We've gone round. I've started the process of contacting DEP. Now, I'll support putting it on the other side. Love to have it. Now, I used to come from Bristol on my bike, riding down to the flats to fish for the bass that were in the big sand pits down there. I don't know what such a big to-do is. People have been using that road and it's been working. It would work better if you wanted to level out part of it. People walk on my property all the time. From 177 down to Judson, that's pretty much Krell property. My cousin has exclusive use. She sold her house to a gentleman who's not in favor of the sidewalk.
All right, thank you, Paul. We're kind of at time here. I appreciate your comments.
And there are other alternatives. You could raise money from all those people who said they want it in that area, because You guys didn't want to raise the issue of taxes. Those folks can help pay the taxes.
Is there anyone else in chambers who would like to continue speaking? Because you do have another 2 minutes. Thank you, Al.
Only one comment. Is there any way you can change it to the north side? I know it's late in the situation. You didn't give us the chance to really make arguments against it. But I can't see you putting all those crosswalks there. It seems to me it's just ridiculous. And the north side is the best way. You're serving all those people. I think the sidewalk's a wonderful idea. Why don't you do it? Why would you put it on the south side with all the farms, with really almost no people? Make all those other people cross the road? It just seems ridiculous. I hope you make a good decision.
Appreciate your comment. Thank you. Is there anyone else? Please come up. Thanks, Jen.
Hi. I just wanted to add that I think the farm situation in this case is unique. It's not, just standard property owner. Like I said, I'm surrounded by land that the town owns. And if you've been to the farm, in the summer and any other season, I definitely beautify things. I would beautify next to the sidewalk with flowers, pollinators. I maintain a high quality of standard at the farm as far as aesthetic value and, the farming experience that I present. And I also add a lot to the community with the events I host there. So I'm hoping that you can make some type of amends in this situation and we can come to agreement about the winter maintenance, which is a burden. It's the only time I can leave the farm is in the winter, so I'm often not there. I would have to hire somebody to take care of the sidewalk, which is an additional expense. My sons are going to be off at college. I can't even ask them to do it. I think there's enough presented tonight where, I don't think this is ready to go ahead as is. I would hope that you take under consideration everybody's opinion here as far as the maintenance, the concerns over the side it's on. I agree that, the number of crosswalks with it all on the south side don't make sense. Maybe a compromise is to keep it on the south side past my property, maintain that stretch by the town, cross it at Judson, and then it avoids the Krell properties and more equally distributes the burden of maintenance. Just some thoughts. I hope you will vote to just at least take everything under consideration tonight and not go ahead as proposed.
Thank you. Thank you, Jen. Are there any other follow-ups? Thank you, Paul. But I'm just checking to see if there's anyone else online.
I don't see any hands raised on mine.
All right. I just want to thank everyone for coming tonight and sharing your thoughts. And I do want you to feel you really have been heard. We've been listening to you all through this process for months, and I appreciate everyone sharing their thoughts. So at this point, I'm going to close our public comment, and I do want to ask everyone up here on the dais before we, make any motions. Are there any questions you feel that you have that haven't been answered?
I have only one question that I wrote down. I have a couple of comments whenever we get there.
Okay.
But just for Russ, my one question was,
Yeah, why don't we, let's close the
Okay.
hearing.
I did close the hearing, but
Yeah.
You closed public comment.
oh, public comment. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Then my apologies. I also want to close the hearing before we move on to our discussion.
Typically, after the public hearing, you would ask the questions that you'd make the motion, and then you'd ask questions, and then Russ would go back and forth and ask it. Okay, sure.
my one question for Russ was, so we're stopping at Wisteria because we didn't want to go, as proposed right now, stopping at Wisteria because we didn't want to go to the corner because that would require redoing of that light per the state, right?
Correct.
Should we be doing that? Is that intersection, does it need it?
Yes.
It needs it. Okay. So it's the reason that we're not going out there is the additional cost.
Funding, correct.
Funding. Okay. And do we know how much more that cost?
$3.5 to $5 million.
Okay. So that's, and the current project is what are we at right now? 'Cause I know Steve's
Million,
looking at it.
1.1.
One-
1.1.
and our burden's a little bit more than half of that.
Right.
Okay. That was the only question.
Are there any other questions that anyone has before we get into our motion?
I have a question. Just Russ, we heard a lot of questions tonight from the public about the south side versus the north side. And I know you've talked about it previously in public. Can you kind of just restate the rationale behind that decision making?
Sure. Kathy said it before, based on the number of homes and the frontage, the property that's owned. The town owns approximately half. I don't have the footages in front of me. We can agree to disagree, Mr. Krell, on what the footage is, but based on that, it is, that was the reasoning of it. And the lower end of Meadow Road has a steeper topography to it, makes it a little more difficult. We'd have a bigger retaining walls in that area from Apple Tree up to towards Summersby. We're going to have some grading issues that we got to do on the south side as it is, and we would deal with the individual property owners at that time. And that was the majority of it. But as you heard, it could go on the north side from Judson up and go from there, but that's not what we, but it's up for discussion, I would say, for you guys.
Are there any other questions before do we feel we have enough information to make the motion?
I have a follow-up.
Sure.
So Russ, what would be involved if we were going to do what you just said, be on one side through Judson and then?
I go through and lay it back out again on that side. It's flatter. It would take some time to do it, but wouldn't take long. As far as showing a schematic plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that something you've, I'm guessing, just because I know town engineering department is very diligent, I'm guessing that is something that you guys have workshops or at least maybe not laid out fully, but the reason that we came to this recommendation was because this made the most sense. Is that right? Or
For the property.
For the property.
Based on the ownership of the properties, yeah. And that, as Kathy stated, for the impact on the abutting properties.
It's just strictly number of property owners.
Correct. Correct.
And the town easement is the same width on all streets, right?
No.
Okay, so
It
what's the
varies.
town's?
That's what I just have to verify where it is,
Okay.
where we lie and how it works. We still got to go out and do some finish surveying to locate the right of way and property lines and stuff like that. And that's all part of the next step. And we do the same thing there. But there's still some small trees that may have to come down. There's one large tree on the north side that would have to come down. But it's possible. They're doable. It's not like the lower end. There's a really steep embankment. I wouldn't recommend putting it there just based on the size of the retaining walls that would be required.
Yeah, I mean, my comment would be, obviously, you talk about the east-west connections that the town really doesn't have. I mean, that's been brought up, and obviously north-south is strong. East-west has got some really broken down linkages. Correct. We can all agree to that. And obviously, with the breakdown of those linkages, we have a public safety issue that obviously is that we all know is here, right? That's another point. We cannot deny that those east-west linkages that are weak as far as pedestrian and bicycle traffic in proximity of vehicular traffic doesn't present a risk that someday we might all regret by not taking action and having sidewalks for the connectivity purposes of public safety and pleasure of walking and biking. So that's what's before us, right? That's what's before us. And obviously, when we propose a project like this, which we haven't proposed a sidewalk in a long time, we've reconstructed Main Street, but I don't know when our last sidewalk project was. But a long time ago. So I think we need, as a town, to get this right. And I think we need to address it and not and use this as an opportunity to address something that we all know is a weakness on our east-west connections. Now, I would be in favor of seeing you, Russ, go and take a look at the Judson Lane kind of recommendation and going west and seeing if we can't divide this up a little bit.
Okay.
Just see how that could kind of, take place. You know what I mean? And kind of understand that to a more formal degree than we have right now.
Yeah.
I agree. The farther east you get, Summers being down there, the grades are tough. And, we'd have to introduce, retaining structures and so forth. So I, tonight, as a council person, listening to this crowd, would be in favor of taking a pause to see what you could do with some of that, information we have here and seeing how that would play out. Seeing that the schedule that Kathy provided, I think we have a window of time to be able to see how we can kind of take a look at some of these opportunities. I will say publicly, we're going to build a connection. As far as what I would like, I think we need to begin to address these east-west connections and find a way to get these things done.
Brian, can I
Yes, just so you know, we're having a little conversation. I'm glad we're looking at this information before we make a motion. So I want to make sure we all have enough information to move forward with the motion. So sure.
Yeah, just for a couple things context. So I was on the sidewalk committee, which was not the Meadow Road sidewalk committee, but we did go through some of these issues. So context of one of the things that Ms. Krell mentioned that I had said, the difficult part of this, and I think Dave would agree, Dave just spoke in favor of the sidewalk, of a sidewalk project.
Correct.
The context of what I said was we would need to be prepared as a council if we were going to do a sidewalk project because we like the idea of sidewalks. It's in the plan of conservation development, which means our forefathers on town planning and zoning and town council thought that more sidewalks would be a good idea. It's also in our strategic plan, which means it's something that at the beginning of our council, we got together and said more sidewalks would be better. But the context for what I'm saying is if you like more sidewalks, you do have to be ready to say to somebody who may not want a sidewalk, the sidewalk is going in, which is not a fun thing to do. And I understand what that does to a resident. It doesn't feel nice as in favor of as I am of sidewalks, generally speaking, particularly on Meadow Road, which when I walked to talk to neighbors and trying to solicit votes for town council, every resident of Wisteria said that was begging for a sidewalk that I spoke with. I shouldn't say every resident of Wisteria, but every resident that I spoke with, the first thing on their mind was a sidewalk over there. So it is a very difficult thing to put that burden on people. The difficulty is that we have had rigorous discussion in the sidewalk committee about what to do about maintenance and what to do about repairs and those types of things. We do have a plan to have further discussions about that going forward. This is separate. So if this sidewalk goes in, it would be under the current ordinance. And the current ordinance is that residents do maintain the insurance on the property and they on the sidewalk, and they do the snow removal and keep the sidewalk clear. So my second point would be, and this is not going to sound super nice, but I think as a council, Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong, can a council vote to put a sidewalk in and then assess the property?
Yes.
Okay. And so I know it doesn't feel great to say, at least we're not assessing the property, but I do think that there is that to it too, where if the council wanted to sit here and sidewalk was just our number one with a bullet issue and putting sidewalks everywhere, as a council, we can vote to assess the properties. I don't think that's a great way of doing it, and that's why I like this compromise where we're getting the state funding. I think it's important that we remember that. Two other notes, and then I will leave everybody alone. The last thing I would say is just anecdotally in some of the public comments tonight, which was great and very, very thoughtful. I think Mr. Krell did a straw poll. There was some residents on the odd numbered side, because I saw even is on the north side, odd number is on the south side. So I was trying to pay attention. I was putting little check marks next to who was in favor and who was opposed. I didn't see anybody from the even side that was against the sidewalk. There was people on the odd side that were for the sidewalk. It's hard to say. There were people that spoke against the sidewalk that were a no vote that said, I love the idea of being in a place with sidewalks. and then there was other people that said that they were not in favor of this side, but they're not against sidewalks. It does get to a point where it's an incredibly difficult decision. I just would want everybody to know. I don't think anybody is taking the idea of putting a burden on the property owner like this lightly, but there is also I do see the public benefit, and I agree with Dave. Personally, I would keep it on one side of the road, but I'd be perfectly fine to see another look if that's what council decides tonight. I like the idea of it being on the town side of the road where the town is picking up it's a chunk of their property. I also, another thing that we talked about sidewalk committee, which it does stink, the person who owns Hind Farm, Jen, to have town property, your property, town property, and get skipped over. I believe, and I don't want to speak for Russ, I believe most of the people in the engineering department would prefer to just keep it going instead of coming off the road and then coming back in. But it creates this issue of fairness and of what we're doing for all the properties. So it's that's not what we're here to discuss. We're here to discuss strictly, does the sidewalk go in or not?
Did you have one more thing you wanted to add?
No, I realized, Brian.
You see, I listened to you.
I got there. I had 5 notes, but I got there. I put one of them into it.
Okay. If you're good, I know that Nadine has joined us remotely because she couldn't be here tonight, but she is with us on the phone. Nadine, I hear you have a question.
Yes, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, great. And I apologize for, as mentioned, not being in person as I'm stuck on a business trip. I am very much in favor of the project, especially around the safety, the accessibility to the neighboring areas, the bike trails, and what I've heard in the schools, obviously, what I've heard primarily the big concern is around the maintenance. And what I'd like to understand is, and I think Keith, you just went to that, was around how do we look at those properties where we're doing before, after? Is there any way we look at the ordinance for this particular stretch of land that we would be putting in the sidewalk to potentially support? I get it, it's a lot. Is my question is around, will we look at that ordinance potentially? And to Dave's point, can we put a pause and think about this, or does it have, what's the push to get this today?
All right, thank you. Are you all set? Nadine, is that your comment?
Yeah, I was just, as I said, the question around the maintenance.
Sure. You had a question?
No, I wanted to comment as well, as I haven't spoken on it yet. Over the course of my...
excuse me, Bruce, before we do that, would you be able to answer Nadine's question?
Which one?
Nadine, would you mind reiterating?
Sorry, the question is around the maintenance and looking about, as you mentioned, you do some cleaning of some properties that, like Jen's may be cleaned, but then the others in front or back. Can we look at the ordinance or look at proposals of supporting some of that maintenance? That's my question.
Take some of it, and then we'll let you take some of it.
Okay.
Nadine, of course, we can look at that, and but again, the ordinance, we have been debating that a little bit about what we're going to do with maintenance and with the new sidewalk. But again, going on to private property, I mean, it's our property, but starting to maintain sidewalks is an issue of fairness and opening. We can do that for sure. But then the person that has the sidewalk in front of their house, why aren't we doing their sidewalk and not maintaining their sidewalk? So there's a lot that goes along with it. And if we, plan on building more sidewalks, and is that going to be a new policy that we maintain the new sidewalks that we put in? And if that's the case, you're talking about, new staffing and different things. And that's part of the ordinance. And we have been reviewing the ordinance. It's pretty uncommon for municipalities to maintain sidewalks of people, but that is something obviously we could look at and review. But it would be a significant shift in philosophy and not really common to what municipalities do. But of course, we can do it.
It would also be an increased expense too.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And would the town face liability?
Yes.
So if the town takes over responsibility for clearing it, then the town becomes liable.
That's
Thank you, Kathy and Russ.
Do you need anything from me?
Bruce, you had a question as well?
I wanted to share, I think, some of the agreement that I have with Dave and with Keith and their perspective on the public good that this project will bring. And I too am in favor of us engaging in that infrastructure, whether it's on the north side or the south side. If the north side doesn't bring additional costs and if it's prohibitive, then we should do this on the south side. I think the public benefit is it's clear. It really ticks all the boxes that you look for when you engage in this kind of project. And I am sensitive to the negative comments that were brought up, the increased responsibility that we're going to force on people who have not had that before. I think while we have other sidewalks, people have probably bought those properties with them, and it sort of came with the territory. And this is something new that's being lumped on people. But I think in general, there is something to the whole issue of an aging population and the demand to clear snow. And, I think that, as Keith was referring to, something that we can engage with as we look at the ordinance down the road in future projects and how we can bring some relief to that. But I don't think those issues are such that they should stop us from engaging in this important project. So I'm okay if we, want to defer to do a test to see if the north is feasible and doesn't add, additional costs, and we can do what's necessary there. But I think, as Dave said, one way or another, I think we should be building this project, take advantage of the grant that we have while we have it to cut some of those costs, and recognize also, it's not a small thing that we're not doing an assessment. That is huge, and it's sort of a hidden benefit for people. And like all of you, I was noting down pluses, minuses, and who was where on all of that. But having been engaged, in a number of public hearings throughout my public service engagement, I can assure everyone here that those of us who do this struggle mightily with balancing the public good and private ownership, without exception. Everyone I've met, we all suffer that. But there are some clear cases like this one, which checks all the important boxes from a public service perspective. And so I think it's really important that we do this project in some fashion or another.
Okay.
Brian, can I go?
Sure, you please. Yes.
Thanks. Thank you. I want to thank everyone tonight. I've been at this in public service in our town for a long time. And one of the things that I really love about our town is that when the public is interested and engaged, we get really good feedback. We have a really great community, and I want to thank everyone for their presentations tonight. And I listened to everyone closely. I read the submissions that have been provided prior to our hearing tonight. And the reason why I asked Russ that question, I kind of emphasize it, is because when we're doing this balancing of the burden on individuals versus what's in the public benefit, as I understand it, the mindset of not putting it on the north side is because it's going to place greater liability on more residents. And that's the rationale. Now, that's something we have to take into account. Now, we've heard some things tonight that make me want to have a conversation about opening up on the north side. It's only that way because there's more residents on the north side. So it's simple math. At its essence, we're trying to balance how many taxpayers are impacted on one side of the road versus the other side of the road. But I do think that it's important that we consider the impact with respect to how it looks on the north side as well. The town manager has articulated the basis for finding that the sidewalk has a substantial public benefit, and I'm mindful of the burden that is being placed on the abutting property owners. There were some comments tonight that really struck with me, and I'm a liability attorney. I've practiced liability law for 33 years. I represented people who have been sued for frivolous claims, and I've also represented people that have been injured because of serious negligence. I'm not aware of any law that says homeowners insurance won't cover a sidewalk if someone slips and falls on a sidewalk. So I'm curious to have a conversation with you offline, sir, about, I'm happy to talk to you about it offline, because I really want to understand where your position on that. There's a comment made too about pedestrian infrastructure and planning for the future. When I was on planning and zoning in this 2006, 7, 8 period of time, when developments were being put in, they were building Long Ridge Court and that whole stuff over there off of River Road behind my house. I remember first thinking how powerless I was that they were going to be putting in these homes and they were going to be taking the gravel out off of the Toflon property off of River Road, if you remember that. And my house shook for 6 weeks and my roof shingles fell off and I felt, I can't do anything to stop this. This is what it is. So I understand when decisions are made at the public level, how it can impact your personal experience. But at that time, they also planned for the sidewalks. And that's what I thought, why are we having sidewalks? These were sidewalks to nowhere. These were sidewalks that weren't going anywhere. They weren't linked to anything. But over the last 20 years, we see how great, how much foresight how the benefit of that foresight was, because now we have pretty well linked area on that side of where I live off of River Road. The town is changing. The town of 25 years ago, I don't think we'd have this conversation. We wouldn't be having this conversation because the town wasn't really in a place where there wasn't a demand, there wasn't a need or an expectation, frankly, for the connectivity that we're seeing being sought now. And the east to west linkage is critically important. And the connection to Westwood schools, to the rails to trail, along New Britain Avenue is very, very important. To the comment made about kids riding their bikes, it was a remote comment. That really resonated with me. This sidewalk is going to happen, I believe, and I will support it. But I'm very much open to the concept or the conversation of whether or not it belongs on the north side versus the south side. Again, that's kind of where I'm at. But I want to thank everyone again for their comments. This is not an easy decision for us, for me in particular. I understand the challenges here. We're going to try to do the best we can. That's all I can say. So thank you.
Can I ask Russ a clarifying question after Patty? Patty, go. Sorry.
I just wanted to, I don't want to reiterate what Bill said, but I do think it's important. Comment was made that this benefits more than just the people in the immediate community, because it gives access to people in the Highlands and other neighborhoods that are not right here. It gives them access to Westwoods. It gives them, and even when my children weren't students at Westwoods, they had sports practices at Westwoods. There's benefits to making that connection between Tungus Mead, Westwoods, and other neighborhoods. I do think that it's important that we understand the best possible plan for the sidewalks, and this may in fact be it. And if this is it, I'm in favor of this plan. But if it makes sense to put a portion of the sidewalk on the north side of Meadow Road, then I'd like to know what that impact is and know what it looks like. I do have some questions that would come down the line. I think if it's all on the south side, the location of the crosswalks, because even though there aren't sidewalks on some of these other streets, people live on them. They're still going to come up to the corner to cross the street. And to points made tonight, cars go really fast on Meadow Road. And it would be, although I've witnessed that cars don't always stop, I understand we could put in the flashing lights and make other accommodations that would highlight the fact that there's a crosswalk coming. And I think it's important that people be able to cross Meadow Road safely. And then I guess the one question I have is to Jen's comment about the plants that she grows. Has the town considered like how will assist or make in terms of like the relocation of some of these perennial crops? Or
No, we haven't. I haven't talked to any homeowners yet.
Okay.
Based upon tonight's meeting, but that would come up during that time frame, and we would take a look at where we are and where that sidewalk is located and go from there.
Thank you. Go ahead, Keith.
Yeah, Russ, to that end, just I have one other question, but to that end, say something did pass, you still have contact with property owners.
Correct.
And conversation. It's not just going to be a steamroller going in and you guys just slap a, there's certain areas that it needs to go, but if people are able to have some conversation and have some voice in what's happening on their property as much as we can, right?
Correct. I mean, it comes to a point where if this gets approved, the sidewalk's going in, it's going in.
Yeah.
But we obviously will talk with the homeowners and property owners.
But if you can go
work
left
that
and
out.
right to save somebody's favorite tree. or
Exactly.
things like that.
We'll adjust. Like I've conversations I've had with Mr. Krell over the past few months. We've explained that we got to do some grading to give him another curb cut. It's an individual issue on his property. There's a couple tight spots where I have to narrow the sidewalk down to less than 5 feet, but still meet ADA, which is 36 inches.
Yeah.
Just because of either a tree, there's a big tree there, there's a drop, something.
Yeah.
So we would adjust. We're going to have some sidewalk will be up against the curb, like a monolithic curb section, just because of something we want to preserve and not cut down or have to get involved with.
And this may be cart before the horse on if we do that north-south split. Because my only question is, because I know when you come out of Judson, that's where it's like a little bit of a blind turn, not blind, but I mean, when you come out, there's that on the left side, it's a little bit tougher to see. So I assume that if we were to do that split, it probably wouldn't go straight across that Judson. It would probably have to come up and then hit.
More like Wakefield, correct.
Okay.
We'd move it to Wakefield
Okay.
and adjust it up the road a little bit to give a little more sight distance each way coming
Basically,
east and west.
the site of your current, where the current crosswalk is planned, basically. Or
Somewhat. Kat, could you put that
right now
picture-
it's planned at Portage, I guess, the corner of Portage.
We have one at Portage,
Yeah.
yes. But we could, if we're on the north side, one more, that's Judson, right there. So that's Portage right there,
Okay.
kind of in between, you can't really see.
And that would make, because that's before the turn too, so I can see it making some sense. But
Right.
I would just say, to Bill's point about the thought into it was
Even the plan there.
just in the sheer numbers for property owners that the south side has less. So if we go to that point, you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 property owners impacted versus 4. Sorry, it's just something to think about.
Yeah, no, we would make an adjustment to those crosswalks, like you said.
Final answer.
And then slide it up, instead of being right at Judson, we would, we're kind of in between there, huh, Kat, with plan sheets? If you go to the next one. No, the other way, sorry. Yeah. If we're on the north side, we would take that crosswalk and put it on the west side of Wakefield. Relocate the one that's shown at Portage.
Right.
And put it there, then we wouldn't need the one up at Wisteria.
Right.
And on the south side, there's no need currently, the way it's laid out, for retaining walls? Or do we have one someplace?
No, we shouldn't.
Yeah, but obviously if there was one going in by White Circle, or is it White Circle, or am I thinking of?
If we were on,
Yeah.
we'd be on the north side.
If you're on the north side,
Yeah, definitely, we would definitely have to be, it would be a large retaining wall in there.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so,
The only other comment I'd make is, first of all, I'd compliment everybody here today. You took time out to be here, and we speak as a body, and we compliment you for being here and taking an interest. We all know that a lot of people think government is cynical. You know, you come in and you think like you don't have a voice. I can assure you, you have a voice. And I think just the discussion that you've heard just in this short time is that people have listened and have kind of heard you. And we know that we work with a talented staff, and nobody has a predetermined answer to a complicated problem. And I just want to reassure you, I compliment you for your ability to be able to come up, talk positively and negatively. But I think we are at a point where this is how it works. And all I can say is that I think you were heard tonight, and we'll appropriately approach the next steps accordingly.
so does everyone feel like we have enough information to move on this issue? Or is there information? There is some talk about, adjusting some things. Do we need to look at adjustments before we decide, or can we do that after?
I think we
We
need,
need to look at
I think we need
adjustments
to
first.
do.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Am I good for now?
Yeah.
Thanks, Russ.
So why don't we talk about process?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, yeah. So I think what I heard is that we want to put the sidewalk, Russ, could you help me out? So, what the council wants to do, I just want to reiterate, putting the sidewalk you're going to design, so why don't you explain what you're going to do for them?
Sure. Basically, if you see the plan that you have in front of you tonight, I'll do the same plan similar plan, showing the aerial on it with the right-of-way and right-of-way lines. We'll get that in and listen, I've walked this road more than I care to. It is what it is, but it's a
You needed a sidewalk, didn't you?
right. Listen, people, and everyone here, like, it's a job for me, right? It's my life. It's what I do here. I didn't wake up thinking, can I piss off the Krells tonight? That's not what I did with this project, and none of us did, right? Just so I can say that. But it'll give me a week and a half, 2 weeks. I'll go out and look at everything and make
You're
some
gonna put it
adjustments
on
to it. But I'll put it on the plan sheet
Yep.
But you're going to go the south side, and then you're going to cross over approximately where?
at Wakefield.
Wakefield. And so that's what we're
Right,
doing,
and then
right?
you're gonna go, you're gonna go west.
Yes.
at
We'll go
that-
west to Wisteria.
All right,
Yep.
so that's what we're going to design.
That's what
All right, so now, again, that would come back as not a public hearing. That would come back as an item on the agenda.
Right.
So then the council would have an opportunity to look at that, and then you'd give us direction. If just for process purposes, if that's what we want to do, we would then have to do another public hearing.
Right.
We'd have to send the certified letters to all the residents, and then we do this process over again.
Right.
But are we able to get that is it going to be presented as A, B, with tonight's being A and that being B? And if we go for tonight's after seeing B, we're able to stick to that? Or was it a new public hearing regardless?
I think it's going to be a new public hearing regardless because we're changing.
Either way,
plans.
is it either way?
Yeah.
And what I would do is you would have both plans. Like,
Right.
and I'm going to be
Not a public hearing. I think that.
at our next meeting.
You guys would look at it, you'd make a determination, if you choose to, at that time, and then we'd start the process over again
Correct.
for a public, the public hearing, and you'd notify people.
I don't think there's too many iterations on this. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's,
So
we only have
so
so
we're
much- so much
halfway.
room to
We're
work.
halfway there. Let's see the other.
Correct. And I was just
And
going to
then-
say, Dave, is the east side, it is what it is. I wouldn't come back and say, as we've said, and people know we have the crosswalk. We don't want to make a jigsaw puzzle out of this, right? And
Right.
keep going back and forth. And as a driver, you're not expecting that kind of maneuver from a sidewalk, right? You're expecting, unless you have sidewalks fully on both sides, you see a sidewalk, you expect that sidewalk to be there. If I'm heading east, it's on my right side. I don't really expect it to be jumping back and forth.
Right.
But if we do this, you got to jump and make it a long distance.
Right.
So that expectation from both people, the pedestrian and the driver, are there.
Perfectly understood.
Yep.
Perfectly explained.
All right, so probably looking for June, because the May council meeting, and then so we'll be looking at probably the June town council meeting. That would give you enough time. to
Absolutely.
Go through that, and that would give us, and then it would be we'll be on the agenda, and
Right.
then not a public hearing. Okay,
Sounds good.
all right.
Okay, sounds good.
And one thing, we will probably have to go back to steep.
Yeah.
And just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Should the plan change and go, I'm going to go 50% on the north, 50% on the south, we'll have to go back and get approval at steep.
Yep.
Just so you're aware, just another step
do.
in the process.
Yep.
I'm just presenting it so you're all aware
Appreciate
that's going to have to happen as well. Okay?
All right.
Good.
So we're going to skip down to F, and I call for an adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn the April 28th town council meeting.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all for coming.